Episode number 171.
Lately, I find, that focusing on the one thing for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can grow something incredible instead of doing 10 or 8 pivots during that time, which, a lot of people do that. Like, oh, I made some money, pivot now.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I'm jazzed up. I'm fired up today, and I'm pumped because we have on the line our featured guest, Tom Libelt. Tom, are you ready to be real?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. My man Tom, he learned from a very young age how to sell, how to negotiate business by getting haggled by the Russian vendors. And his family moved from Poland to the United States to escape communism, and his parents took any job they could find, obviously, just to survive. And seeing all this as a young man, my man Tom never wanted a job, and he kept moving forward as an entrepreneur, publisher, salesman, and one of the top Polish hip-hop artists. That's awesome, my man. I'm excited to get into that. Tom spends most of his time in Thailand as he runs the Smart Brand Marketing and We Market online courses. Tom seems like one of those guys with the Midas touch, and everything he touches might turn into gold, folks. So we keep your ears peeled today. He has actually published over 5,000 Kindle books, and I'm excited to hear about how you write about that, as well as a successful SEO and online course marketing business. And one of my most exciting things is you have a record label. You've created a documentary, and you have 5 hits on the top Polish radio station. That is amazing. All bootstrap, my man. All bootstrap with zero outside funding. So we've given our listeners just a little insight. But how's your day going today, Tom?
It's good, man. It's good. It's busy. Just closed a pretty big deal this morning, and then which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to close tomorrow. And the moment you close something like that, a part of you is excited, but a part of you is like, man, it's going to be a lot of work.
Holy shit. Let's get this thing ready to go.
which is usual. Like we usually close ones of this size, but it always just stops me for a second, right? Because I'm like, okay, now we've locked it in, like it's going, it's happening now. My summer is definitely not getting any easier.
Right. That's the blessing and the curse of entrepreneurship, right? I mean, it's just, especially in any kind of business, it's not always automated. There's a lot of work that has to be involved, or people, or team, time, creative, revisions, execution, strategies. So that gets me into your business, Smart Brand Marketing. What made you start this business? What gave you the epiphany to say, hey, I got to start my own marketing firm?
Well, I was doing an SEO firm before.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. It's still running. The problem with SEO is that you can't control it. You can't control Google's whims, and
right.
It's one of these businesses which isn't perfect. And I always say any business on anyone else's platform, and this happens for a lot of Facebook agencies or drop shipping or
right.
FBA guys. Any of these, it's not a perfect business. I've seen these businesses shut down overnight multiple times. So I thought I should go into the more controllable aspect, which is just the marketing. But I did realize that trying to please everyone, you don't get paid as much. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many marketers. You're just like one fish in a huge pond.
Absolutely.
So by switching into marketing courses, online courses,
mm-hmm.
I very quickly became one of the best in my niche. Because it's not a big niche. I maybe have 30,000 of really good client possibilities and 300,000 of maybe they'll get there one day. It's not a huge niche. You know what I mean? But the ones that pay, they pay quite well, obviously, because, you always, the top 20% works with the top 20%. So it's always pretty good. And I can only work with maybe 5, 6 clients at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So even out of these 30,000, if only 3,000 have really good money and possibilities, I can run my whole business off of that, which it's fine. But it was like those decisions, right? First, no control. Let's go into marketing. Then realizing, do I want to be an average guy in a huge pond or the best in a small pond? Well, be the best in a small pond. So I narrowed it down even more. But that was kind of the transition from that to that.
So you guys mostly focus on helping others market their online courses?
That's it. That's what we do now. Yeah. I mean, I still have some, older clients where we did marketing for e-commerce and things like that. But all new clients coming in, unless it's like a referral from someone that's like just, a good friend, I might take it on. But otherwise, it's got to be online courses. Otherwise, I'm just like, no. So I've gotten really good at saying no.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's very important. I mean, it's as an entrepreneur, it's hard to do. It's hard to do because obviously you want to keep the business going. You're excited to keep growing, but the most successful people know how to say no. I think you're absolutely right about that. So what kind of businesses typically want you to help them market online courses? Is it all different types of businesses?
Yeah, the niches are just all completely different.
Right.
What I find is that the ones that I enjoy working with best, let's put it that way, because there's, a lot of people out there with, nonsense and, no business skills that just want to have a, easy money, this is a business. Online courses are a business, right? I basically go in and fix businesses. So like the stuff you see on the Profit, he does it with retail stores and brick and mortars. I do that with online courses, right? So I'm fixing these actual businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And for the most part, it's, someone that's been doing really well. And then something happened and it's broken, or someone's doing pretty well, but there are just so many opportunities and they can't handle the marketing. Because as a course creator, you're a teacher, you're a tech guy, you're a writer, content creator. There's so many different pieces. Marketing, which took me about 20 years to figure out myself, and I'm still learning. I feel like a newbie half the time. It's a hat too many for people. So it could also be, someone had success in a different area, like maybe in-person coaching, workshops, or someone's done really well on Udemy, but once again, zero control, right? And they tried selling on their own, and it's not working, so they come to me with that. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Absolutely. So your real strategy or goal is to get them off of Udemy or one of these Skillshare places and more selling the courses directly online on their website?
Yeah. So the way we deal with clients is they have to control the course, right? So whether it's on Teachable, on Thinkific, on Kajabi, or on these platforms, like they need that full control. Like, with Udemy, one, you're devaluing your courses. Two, you have zero control over when the discounts happen, over your pricing, over your list. It's a joke, right? It's good for maybe building a list. We have clients that we've built a lot of lead generation type courses on Udemy and then moved those to the premium course. One of them, it was really funny because he went crazy and he built 150 courses on Udemy. So a lot of that was kind of repurposed content, but just, addressing every little niche and within his niche, right? So it's like kind of keyword playing, like back with the AdSense websites. You just go for a lot of them. And, this was just a strategy to get traffic. But after a year, his actual income from Udemy was $250,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, that was definitely not expected. But once again, this is not the goal. It's a great thing to do, but
right.
It's not the goal. The goal is to make that $250,000 yourself so you can control it.
Right.
But yeah, so we have a bunch of, funny things happen, when you're working. And this was one of those where I'm like, I would have never, ever expected that. Like after shitting on Udemy for so long,
right.
Even me just seeing that $250,000, I was like,
there's some possibility there.
Yeah, there's something there. There's something there.
Is there a platform that is your favorite that you can control, that you can use on your website to sell courses?
So I usually tell people if you want to start off, Thinkific and Teachable, they're about the same. They're fine. They'll help you enough where you just can leave the tech alone, for the most part, right? So just start with those. And every single creator, after they make enough money, just move to their own custom-made platform. So that's like the next step. But I would never ever do that in the beginning. And I do find people doing that. It's like the same wannabe business guy that creates the website, business card, everything, and has nothing to sell yet.
Right.
So this is not the way to go around. Make sure you make a decent amount of income before doing that. So yeah, these platforms are super easy to use. And something like Teachable, you can deeply integrate it with ActiveCampaign. So that makes your life easier.
Right.
You can integrate it with evergreen webinars. Once again, easier life. For some of the more technical things, Zapier would need to be used, but that's almost with every platform. Like when you integrate, like to really do some of the more fancier things, you need to use Zapier. But even without that, you're fine. There's some good integrations between these platforms already.
And so then my next question is, how do you get people to these courses? Where is your favorite place to get people to these courses?
That really depends.
Depends on the client, huh?
Depends on the client. So lately, we've done a lot of tests on LinkedIn for B2B courses, and those work really well.
Really?
They work okay for like B2C.
Right.
It's not always a good. With Facebook, remarketing 100%. Because that's where the easy wins are. Cold Facebook, that's the holy grail. If you can get the cold traffic to convert, it's like 2x.
Right.
It happens, but it's not usual. Usually, what happens is you're going to break even on the cold traffic and get a 3 or 4x on the remarketing,
Gotcha.
which is still great. But it's just not as nice as years ago, where you could get like a click or an engagement for like 2-3 cents.
Right.
And things been in a downward spiral with the price.
Zuckerberg's making more money, baby. He's making that cash.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just him. I think by us wanting more privacy, the targeting's getting worse, and there's just a lot of different issues. It's not just Mark. Mark is just trying to hang on to his job and grow the company.
Absolutely.
But that's just the reality. We have more competition, more people trying it. It's this thing with AdWords, right? Like AdWords used to be so hard to do back in the days because there was so much competition. Where now, often you can actually get better pricing than from Facebook for some terms, because just not many people are using it anymore.
Right.
So that's one thing. YouTube used to be great, but now with guys like Billie Jean telling everyone and their mom to go on YouTube, the prices went up a lot. So we need to wait for that wave to sort of die out. Instagram, for some brands, works really well. It's more of just a testing thing, and with the pricing, it depends when you enter too. If you come into the holiday season between October and December, you're going to whine.
Right.
And then the same, person could have entered like in February to April and be like, wow, Facebook is great.
Right.
So there's so many factors in this.
Yeah, there is. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's fascinating because, a lot of people want to get into this business where they're, teaching online and they're helping people and they're also, making money. So then my next question is to you, my man. How did you get to writing 5,000 Kindle books?
Yeah, that was an interesting pivot.
Yeah, how the heck did you do that?
So back when I was running the SEO company full time myself, we were on a lot of blog networks, right? So I don't know if you remember those. Like you would join these big networks. They had maybe 10, 20,000 domains in their control that they would buy. You would write blog posts with the right anchor text, upload them, and they would do the rest, right? So you basically paid for the access, but you had to write the blog posts. So we would be writing hundreds of them every single week to rank our website, and there was a time where a lot of these crashed. Google just, wiped them out.
Right.
And they are making a sort of another entry into the market now. So, I just want to tell people, be so careful with these blog networks. This happened before. This is the next cycle now. Like they hope you forgot about what happened 6-7 years ago.
Was it the Panda or one of these ones that just completely wiped out?
It wasn't an algorithm. It was Google actually went after the blog networks themselves, right? So they went after the hosting companies and everything and just killed all of them. So the page ranks went from 7, 6, 5 to 0, like overnight for all of those. Or they just de-indexed like thousands of websites.
Wow.
So all your links that you paid for were worth nothing.
Wow.
So, we got stuck with, like 10,000 blog posts or more. And I started thinking, well, I have a huge team and, they work beautifully. Like I trained them. It's a system. It's like clockwork. I don't do anything. And one of my friends said, like, have you heard about the Kindle thing? Back then Kindle was coming up with that, you can publish your own books. And I was like, you know what? Let's do this. I'll tell my manager to just start putting out books, so longer blog posts, let's say, like that's just write like a 20-page article with pictures in it and stuff on different topics and just throw it up on the Kindle. Next thing you know, they paid for themselves. So the team is already paying for itself within like 4 months from just the Kindle income.
Wow.
And as with anything, we fine-tuned. At one point, we were putting out almost 300 books a month, and it grew a lot until we just started seeing the plateauing, and Amazon was destroying some of the income. So at one point, they used to give us $1.50 per borrow, right? So if someone borrowed your book, you would get $1.50. Overnight, that was like 5 or 10 cents because they changed from per borrow to number of pages read. So they just changed the whole thing. So I've seen, that they're trying to kill this business too in some ways, and I just lost interest. But at peak, it was making around $200K per year, and 5,000 something books, maybe even 6 or 7. I don't know. It was a big number. And then once again, I moved my my workers onto like different content creation, and now they're helping with like the LinkedIn stuff and like just other things which make me much better, more controllable money. But yeah, it was a good play. It was a good play, and the whole reason for doing those was just not to fire my team.
Right, keeping them on board and figure out what to do with them. Right.
That's it.
That's awesome. I love that too, because hey, life is always pivoting, life is always changing, and if you're not making changes and moving forward, you're gonna get left in the dust. Right.
Well, maybe. Okay, maybe. So with pivots. It's like when I see serial entrepreneur, right, on someone's LinkedIn profile. It means two different things. Right. Either you're really good at exits and pivoting, or none of your shit ever worked.
Yeah.
Right? True. So lately I find, that focusing on one thing for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can grow something incredible. Absolutely. Instead of doing 10 or 8 pivots during that time, which, a lot of people do that. Like, oh, I made some money, pivot now. Right. And it's cool in some ways, but you're not, like the people that have been in it for much longer, they're not going to look at you and be like, oh, wow, he's running his 20th business. They'll be like, yeah, I don't know about this guy. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I mean, absolutely. I think there's a very few people that can run successful businesses like Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey, some of these people that can run very successful multiple businesses. I think it's almost relatively impossible to do it otherwise. You can be an investor, right? But to actually be the one doing all these things, and I think you're right. I mean, having 20 businesses in the last 2 years doesn't really look good, unless they're all just booming. But most likely they're not.
Well, or like unless you're just really good at exits, and there's people like that too. I know a few friends who that's all they do is they build things to sell them, which is fine too. But most of the time when I see that, it just means like this person hasn't figured shit out.
Right. And I also mean in your business itself, because like when I started my business, Real Time Outsource 10 years ago, social media management was new. Now there's a million people that do social media management. So we still have a great business. We still have a moat, if you want to call it, in that it's a lot of hard work. It's a grind business. It's not easy. Most of the time when you get a customer on board, they want to stick with you. But there's obviously more competition now. And so, even us have to think about not only not moving into another business, but trying to figure out what other stuff can complement our current campaigns to make more value, value.
That's normal. Sometimes it's about just, finding your niche, right? So like, what is that thing within the social media that you're great at? So I had a guy that I spoke with not too long ago, and he does social media, but he only does it for stars, right? So only for big artists and usually hip hop guys too. So hip hop R&B, but he found his niche, and there's enough of them, and then he's dominating that niche itself. So, he's not going to go after models or companies. He says he does, but I know that's not, those people don't really go after him. It's like, they look at his portfolio and be like, yeah, no, that's not, you're not our guy. But he's doing really, really well in his own niche because it's like, he found that little sweet spot. Like I got to tell you with the marketing myself, since I niched down, my calendar is full and I'm usually at 95% capacity and I'm raising prices. That was not the case with the regular marketing. Like I was fighting for business, because everyone's like, what separates you from the other 20,000 marketers? I'm like, yeah, good question.
No, that's a great point. I mean, I think the further you can niche down, the better. I mean, Greg Rosner, one of our recent guests, he just does presentations. So he just makes your presentation look better. He's very busy dealing with slide decks and dealing with presentations from all different companies and making it better. I mean, something so simple as that can turn into a really big business where you have, a handful of team members working on projects all day long and you able to figure out a way to automate it somewhat.
That's true. Yeah, I actually know someone that does that, but even niche down even more. Only slide presentations for CEOs of
exactly.
companies,
right?
100 or more people, right? So he's like super niched down.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's busy all the time too. So that's what I mean, right? Like sometimes it's not really a pivot; it's more of a focus thing. Like you just got to find your sweet spot.
Change the focus a little bit, tune in to what's going on with the industry. Now, also my question, because you spent a lot of your time in Thailand, why is Thailand one of the best places to do business right now?
The thing about Thailand that just blows my mind is that between maybe August and January, I would say 3,000 to 4,000 online business people just migrate into the town where I'm at, which is Chiang Mai.
Really?
And it's just incredible. I mean, the bubble is insane, right? Like, imagine you're in a company over 1,000 people, all doing one thing, 9 to 5. Well, that's like that in Chiang Mai. Like anywhere you go, all people are doing is talking about online business.
Wow.
That's it. That's the whole topic of everyone, and it's thousands of people. And yeah, obviously, a lot of them don't make anything. There's a lot of fake it till you make it, $1,000 a month. But you will find that 5-10% of like some serious business guys, making a couple mil online, and they're all hanging out too. It's just it's a bubble that I could not replicate anywhere else yet.
Ooh, that's very interesting. And also, I'm guessing too with your team, do you have a lot of your team in Thailand then too as well?
Just one. Just one. My team is all over. Some in Europe, some in the Philippines, some in the US. And part of that is because I move around too. Like right now I'm in Chicago until end of July. Then I'm going back to Thailand. Then sometimes we go to Europe for 3-4 months. Sometimes we'll move to south of Thailand when, the crowd migrates somewhere else. Like I've been in Lisbon, Berlin, Barcelona, like so many places, Tokyo. So I move around too. And then the team being in different spots helps me with the time zones too, right? So if I have a client from Europe, please handle that client. Right. If I have a client from the US, could you talk with him? You know what I mean? So if I'm not around, they can still deal with the client. So no one really feels like, oh, Tom's not on my schedule.
Right. That's the most important thing, right? Is to empower others.
Yeah, and plus that's the way the business is run, right? Like otherwise I would have to say like I'm only taking clients from the US, which, it doesn't really make sense for me.
And one of the biggest perks that it sounds like from your job is you get to travel a lot.
It's overrated. I'll tell you that. Like I've done those, that digital nomad-y type of thing for a bit. For 2 years, I moved from one city to the next. So I spent like 45 to 60 days in each city. And I'll tell you that finding a new gym and grocery store, it gets boring the 10th time you do it.
Right.
So now I have a couple spots I really enjoy, and we'll just go travel for like a week.
Got you.
But like Chiang Mai is one. Warsaw, Poland is one. We go there a lot. Taipei, I found I like a lot. Places in the U.S., obviously, there's quite a few because it's just, this is one of the best countries, no matter what people say. And, we just kind of migrate between those. Like we might go to Hong Kong. Like I'm a foodie, right? So, and, since Bourdain's gone, there's, nothing new for me to really watch, but we'll like take one of his episodes and just do exactly what he did.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So just follow along with the restaurants he went to and just check it out. Check out the menu.
Yeah, that's it. And like we did it in Vietnam and Taipei and some other places. So somewhere in Europe, we've done just a Bourdain thing. We just like whatever he's doing, what I'm doing.
That is fun, man. That is fun.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready, my man? We're about to take you now into our top 10.
Okay, I'm ready. I don't know what that is, but I'm ready.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
Chicken, steak, or fish?
Chicken.
Laptop or iPhone?
Laptop.
Spotify or Pandora?
I don't use either.
Okay. Movies or video games?
Movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
Oh, reading for sure.
Stocks, crypto, or real estate?
Real estate.
Oceans or lakes?
Oceans.
Nice. So when you wake up in the morning, my man, and you are just getting ready for the day, you're inspired, you're ready to go. Why do you love being Tom?
I've accomplished way more than I thought I would ever accomplish. And that makes me feel like there's still so many more things I could do, because I thought like my hard stop would have already came somewhere, along the line. But at this moment, I'm just like, wow, like I still have a lot to look forward to. And that itself, plus the freedom too, right? Like, I have no boss. I don't have to find new gigs to work on. Like, I could work off of what I have, like just live off of that for years.
Right.
Freedom does a lot of stuff to your like self-esteem too, right? Because you can choose, at least for a few years what to do. Like, I don't have to FU money that, for the next 50 years I can do, but, still, like, you'll figure something out. And so all of that just gives me just a much better look at life. And just by that. Plus, I have friends and family around all the time.
That's awesome. Do you like to go? You have a lot of family back in Poland?
I have some family in Poland, but the funny thing is, like, I'm going to be in Chiang Mai. I just had my cousin from Sweden visit me this year, so we hung out for quite a bit. Now, another cousin from Poland is actually coming to Chiang Mai too in December to hang out. So they visit me too, even when I'm out there. Because a lot of people like want to go by the best beaches on the planet, and
sure.
And we spend time in Chiang Mai for 6 months, and then maybe 3 months in Krabi, right? Which is like where we live in Krabi is like the most beautiful place ever. We have a huge apartment with our own pool, and we're a block away from the ocean and some of the best islands and everything that tourists go to. But it's 20 minutes from the tourist area, so it's super quiet. It's like the best of all worlds.
And what is that place called again? I want to write
Krabi. Krabi. So we usually stay in Klong Muang, which is the little private kind of beach area where we stay. Mm-hmm. And 20 minutes from us is Ao Nang, is where all the tourists go.
Wow.
So just within 20 minutes, like, we're in like the perfect spot. And, when you wake up and it's like, you see the ocean, you can go by the pool. The weather's always nice. It's like what gets better. Yeah, internet's good too. So internet's really good. It doesn't get much better.
Wow, that is awesome, man. I'm going to check that out on the internet here. What is a skill you're wanting to master this year? Is there something you're really working at to master and get better at?
I always try to stop being a hustler.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an ongoing thing, because I that's how I started. I always hustled. Like, I can sell, I can do all that. But
absolutely,
there's a difference between growing a business and hustling. Hustling is what makes you a serial entrepreneur. Hustling is what makes you lose focus.
Right.
Hustling does a lot of negative things too, because you're just always like, yeah, I got to make this money. But when you don't, and when you actually want to grow a business, that's one skill that doesn't help, especially with scaling. It's different when you want to hustle your way to, let's say, 6 figures, like the low 6 figures or 5, whatever, high 5, 6. That's easy. But if you're scaling, the hustle needs to stop. That's when the systems come in. That's when you need to build a culture. That's when you need to get some partnerships going. I mean, it's just a lot of different things that you need to kind of tackle. And this one part of you does not really mix well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. You can only hustle so much, right? Before you have others hustle for you.
I'm not even talking about the hustle culture, this like work all the time. It's just a mentality, right? Of like, of just hustling. It's like, okay, we got to, come up with like 10 more pitches, but not really. Right. No, we don't. Right. The pitches we've done work fine. We just need to refine them. We need to keep doing the outbound. We need to be consistent. Like, it's just a little different type of thinking. That's all I mean. It's not, that like you still need to work,
right?
But it's just that hustler mentality. Because, when I was young, I was just sold weed in high school. Like, and a lot of people that meet me now, it's like, not a lot of those people have been able to transition into actually running a normal business, well, right? It's not something you find in common.
Not really. Yeah. Most of them end up in jail, unfortunately.
Yeah. And now they might have
now they might have a big dispensary or something because, marijuana is legal basically everywhere.
Yeah. Which is funny, right? Now they're all getting out, but I'm just saying, like, that mentality, it helps you a lot in the beginning, and then it's a crutch.
Right.
Yeah.
So you transitioned, obviously. You built a big
I've
business for yourself.
transitioned, but like, it's like anything, right? If you've done something for 10, 15 years, it's always like in the back, like you gotta be like, okay, no, that's that hustle speaking. Let's not
Right.
do that.
Slap that around. I always think like, what would Jeff Bezos do? Because obviously he's really built a scalable business. Amazon's tackling everything. This next big one I think they're going to tackle is healthcare.
It's true. It's true. But, the thing with Amazon, and I sometimes find people starting e-commerce, they'll be like, yeah, I want to be like Amazon. And I'm like, dude, you're not in the same game as Amazon, not even in the same field, don't even have a seat in this game. Like, you can't think that big. It's like, I know what you're saying, but like you just don't have the resources and the movements that Amazon does. You can't do the things that Bezos does. Like right now, what he's doing is with the transportation stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see companies getting built left and right. They're all doing stuff for Bezos. They don't realize what Bezos does, and he's done this multiple times. He's just trying to figure out how it works, how much it's going to cost. And then just replace them. He's going to find a cheaper option, and just fire all of them, right? Or just buy them out for like pennies on a dollar. So it's this control thing. But like parts of it, like what would Bezos do if he was starting this out, right? Like when he was still working from his garage. Like that's, yeah.
And also, Jeff Bezos only sold books online to start.
That's true. That was his whole mission. I remember that.
He really had a small niche like you're talking about this whole time. So don't think you need to be the all for everyone. You can sell golf bags. You can sell autographs. You can sell.
Oh yeah, dude. I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to say what product he sells, but he sells a very small product on Amazon. And he's going into like this. I don't know. He's definitely over $1 million in revenue.
Wow.
Definitely over that. It's just a tiny little product. It's a joke too. And this is after Amazon kind of messed with him and did a replacement, Amazon Basics product and put a cheaper version on top. He's still making that.
Still doing it. Wow.
Yeah, like you really don't need to be in a huge niche. Like I told you, I was in a huge niche and it was actually worse than what I'm doing now. Like I'm doing well right now and it's easy. Where before it's like, yeah, if I could only sell to all these billions of people, but like no one knows about you.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, you need to really niche down in this world, I think, to be successful. I mean, you could probably do it, be the all jack of all trades, but the truth is, the better off to be smaller and then you can get bigger. I mean, Amazon probably didn't think they'd be selling the kind of stuff they do now when they started selling books only.
Yeah, but once you get the relationships and you get the expertise and the reputation, it's easier to translate that into other markets, right? But if you go into like a big market like I did before, and let's say I'm selling something and, the question could be like, well, what makes you better than Jay Abraham? I have money to spend. And I would be like, nothing. But right now if someone did, I'd be like, well, what the hell does Jay Abraham know about selling courses?
Yes. I love it, dude. I think it's brilliant, man. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Anyone listening to this show today, think about your business and think about how you can create a sub niche or be the leader in that niche versus being, maybe doing too much and trying to be in a much bigger industry that it's going to be harder to get market share and compete at the end of the day. So tonight, if you could sit down for a nice Chicago meal with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Man, I don't know. I usually had the opportunities to eat with almost everyone I wanted to.
Well, hey, dude.
If I could sit with anyone, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that. I don't really look up to anyone much. So,
well, hey, you know what? Everyone's different. That's awesome that you don't look up to anyone. We're all equal. We all got to wipe our butt.
Yeah, that's how the thing was, when I worked in the music industry, I made the mistake of meeting my stars. Because I was an engineer at Unique Recording, which is one of the, used to be, they're all shut down now, but it was a big studio in New York and Times Square. And the artists I used to like really listen to and look up to, most of them, except for Biggie, he died. Like that was the only one I missed out on. But the other ones, they came to the studio and I worked with a bunch of them. And I got to tell you, it was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
It was disappointing, like one of the favorite ones that I used to listen to, it was Guru from Gangstar. I used to listen to the CD nonstop. Like it was like one of those, like I used to learn from the guy.
Oh yeah, that was the hits.
Yeah, and he was a really cool guy, but he was an alcoholic. So when he came in the studio, like half the time I just listened to him like mumbling and talking nonsense and not being able to string a verse together.
Right.
And that kind of makes you feel like, damn, if I really listened to him too well, I probably would have been drinking too right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, this is why I stopped looking up to people. Like I've went through that phase of meeting my stars, and I just don't have any anymore.
Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. Can you give us? Do you read any books?
Too many, but I skimmed through a lot of books. Yeah.
Do you have a book that has changed your life or changed your mindset about life?
The one book which I don't know why, but I thought it was a great biography was Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
and I used to always think like the guy's a bit of a joke, right? Just this, action star, a bunch of muscles. But when I realized the way he approaches everything that he does and just how smart he really was, I started looking at the opportunities coming my way a bit differently. If you read that book, there's a story about, I think, the first comedy he ever did. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a comedy, his first comedy. And he got a deal that was incredible, because he didn't need the money. He, even to this day, the guy that gave him the opportunity is like, Arnold screwed me on this deal, which is insane because he was just an actor. Like, he got such a good deal from it. And I don't know, it was a really good book. But there's a fiction series too, which like changed my life. It starts with Shogun and ends with Noble House. You would have to find a series. It's like 6 or 7 books, but those books have more business and people knowledge in them than I found in any nonfiction ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a series, a couple books.
Gotcha.
But if you just put Shogun and Noble House, like, it'll give you the whole series.
I'll give you the whole series. And we'll put that in the show notes. That is very interesting. Yeah, I think it's fascinating that a lot of times the fiction is more business than reading a business book.
Yeah, and it kind of goes in easier too, right? Because it's super entertaining.
Right. Yeah, you kind of get lost in the story instead of sitting there, kind of scratching your head on a chalkboard.
Yeah, so it kind of talks about like multiple generations of these business families, right?
Oh, interesting.
And the way it takes you through, you're just like, oh my God, like, like it's like a bird's eye view over like what business is, so I really recommend it.
Shogun and through Noble House. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite show or thing to do at night after you worked a long day?
Actually, lately I did, until I think last weekend. It was Billions.
Oh, yeah. Are you disappointed the show's it's on the season premiere, right? It ended last week?
I mean, I'm never disappointed in that show. I mean, of course,
epic show, man.
I'm actually happy it's over for a bit because I was getting too into it. It's one of those shows, but it's a great show, man. Like, I don't usually get into shows like that, but other than The Wire, which came out I don't know how many years ago, like this was the first show which I was like, even my girlfriend's like, seriously? But now she's like, just stop. He's watching Billions. So,
right.
Like that's the only thing. Like, you'll find me if Billions is on, I'm like, okay, everyone just go. We'll handle this after.
And they're like in their season 4 going on season 5, right? I guess they're really doing something right with the writers over there.
I think it's getting better, actually.
Yeah, it is. That's
really
what I've heard too. I've heard from multiple people that's getting better, man.
Yeah, because like the Game of Thrones stuff, like I was like, really, like tits and dragons, like do I really need to?
It kind of slows down. It slows down after season 4. It's hard to keep that energy going.
Yeah, but this one, I don't know. I really liked it, so I do recommend Billions a lot if someone hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I do too, especially for entrepreneurs too, that people like that mindset. Can you give our listeners, where's the best place for people to hang out with you and find you on social media or on the internet?
Smart Brand Marketing, that's the best place. Or just come to Chiang Mai around the months I mentioned, and we will very likely run into each other.
We'll find you on a beach, relaxing.
Yeah, there's no beach in Chiang Mai. It's by the mountains. That's why I mentioned there's 2 different areas.
Oh, right. That's right. I got you.
Yeah. But in that area, well, if you don't find me, you'll find a lot of other cool people. So, you won't miss them. You won't miss them.
Well, folks, you've been hanging out with my man, Tom Libelt and Travis Too Tall and Huff. I want to thank you again for your time today and keep being real.
What another epic
episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.